Hello everyone. My name is Maingi Sonjangnim. I'll be taking you through the Korean alphabet for today, the very basics for the alphabet. 안녕하세요, 여러분. Today I'm gonna take you through the Korean alphabet. I'm assuming some of you already know the basics of the alphabet, but then many of you also probably do not know the entire, let's say, everything in the alphabet. We will do two sessions. The first session has the what we call basic vowels, and then after that we will do one with the vowels which are combined. Those are diphthongs. I'll explain what that is. It's a linguistics term. Okay, so if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and then ask. I don't have time to dive into everything, but this is the history. It was formed in like 1443. In 1443, why? King Sejong. Because Koreans, let's say ordinary Koreans couldn't read the Chinese characters. Is there anyone here who's ever tried learning Chinese? Chinese characters, as you guys know, are complicated. Now, what's the difference? Why am I saying Chinese characters are complicated? And then why is it also that people usually say like you need about 3,000 Chinese characters to like actually learn Chinese? It's because Chinese has a pictorial alphabet, what we call a pictorial script. Like elements represent something else. Everyone. So I was saying that there's a reason why Koreans switched from the Chinese script to writing their own with their own system. Okay, so if we look at this, like for example, we have the Chinese or what in Korean Hanja on the left side, and what it is, it looks like in Korean. As you can see in the Chinese part, it looks very complex, very many strokes. But in Korean, you have, okay, I know some of you don't know this, but this is a D. This letter that looks like a C that is very squared is a D. And then you have an O and then a G below it. Okay, and the other thing is the main thing about to know about Chinese is like you have it, we call it a pictorial script. But now, if I look at this, it almost kind of looks like a mountain. It points up, right? So this character represents a mountain. It's not, but these words are not, it's not phonetic. There's no the sound, like for example, in English, if I was asked, this is an M, it has the sound M. Chinese does not have that. Chinese has pictures show what a thing is. Like even here, this kind of looks like a door of sorts. That's how a door is written. Exit. There's even the element for fire. So like for example, you the word in Chinese for person. Person in Chinese kind of okay. It's a very simplified drawing of what a person would look like. But then there are very many complex characters in Chinese. King Sejong, they call him Sejong Taewang in Korean. He was like, "Oh, you know what? We need to switch the script so that it's easier, so that it's not pictorial. It's easier for anybody to learn." Rich, wealthy people in the 1400s in Korea, they had like tutors and all of that, but the ordinary people did not have that. So they were like, okay, let's devise a simple script so that everybody can learn to read and write. What we have here is on this side, I will put the consonants on this side, and then on this side, I'll put the vowels. If you have any questions, please ask. Actually, for me, it's more engaging, it's more encouraging if y'all ask questions. The very first thing we're gonna learn is I'm actually gonna teach you guys consonants first, how they are pronounced. It's kind of tricky to teach online and show you guys how this is written. There's a type of touchpad that you can write on that can show everybody and everything. So we start with this first letter. This letter is usually pronounced like a G. The letter like G and like G. Isn't it G? Yeah? Like Gabby. Gabby would start with this letter, G. Okay? So Gabby would start with the letter G. But then I'm saying at times, not every time. At times it does switch sounds and it can sound like a K. So in many Korean handouts, they will write, oh, this can be a G or a K. Because sometimes when there are consonants which are more emphasized. I can explain why, not right now. I'm gonna do a pronunciation class later on. So there are some which are emphasized, So in that case, this is gonna be pronounced sort of like a K, not like a G, but mainly it is a G. So, for example, if you want to write the name of our country, Kenya, or for those from Tanzania, if you want to write Kenya, you cannot use this one. This is G. It would not be right. It's not Kenya. Okay. Although many of my students do make that mistake. Anyway, never mind. I'm not gonna talk about that, man. Now, the next letter, can anybody tell me what it is?
Could it be an N?
Yeah, it is an N, the letter N. Now, for some English speakers, of course, Swahili also uses Latin script. Okay, somebody, yes, SP, that is correct. It is N. For some English speakers or Swahili speakers, we use Latin script. So this appears like an L, but it is not. It's N. Okay, next, what letter is this?
A D?
D. Okay, yes, it is a D. But sometimes when it's emphasized, it can sound like a T. It can. Not always. It can. Just sometimes. Not always. I know. As I look like I'm trying to confuse you. I promise I'm not trying to do that. I will explain these in another lesson why this happens. Let's mark them in purple or red. I think purple is okay. And this, what about this one?
An R or an L?
Yes, an R or an L. It can be R, it can be L. Now, this is easy to explain once we start, like, for example, doing exercises to write your names and stuff like that, when it becomes an R, when it becomes an L, because there are specific instances for that. Next, what do we have here?
An M?
Yes, it is an M. Next,
A B?
yes, it is B. Thanks. Thanks, Ashley, Abby.
Wait, it's a B or a P? Like P
Yes,
for
it
pen?
can also be a P. When the sound is more emphasized, it can sound like a P. Mainly it is a B though.
S?
S
Sh. Is it?
or sh. Yes, yes, S or sh. It's S or sh. How about next? What do we have here?
It's an NG. I don't know how to
NG.
pronounce that.
Or sometimes it can also be what we call the empty consonant. Some people call it the silent consonant. Some people call it the placeholder. We'll just write silent, or ng. Okay, that works. Next,
A J.
or can actually sound like a ch sometimes. Can sound like a ch sometimes, like ch. But when we want to actually have this ch sound, like for example, when want to say I am blah blah blah. The word is to. We add nun. I'll explain these later in future lessons. So we have like ch for chapati. If you want to write chapati, you cannot use this one. You have to use this one. Chapati.
K.
Like for Kenya.
Ta, pa, ha,
Ta,
k.
You're saying this is k and this is k. What's the difference between this first k and this second k, this double consonant? Can anybody tell me the difference?
I guess this one is more emphasized because it's like a double KK, so sound of a way. I'm not sure.
Okay, so somebody used to k, k and k, k. Okay, no, I gotta explain this difference, but it's like an exercise I like doing with my students. So with this first k, okay, na hii k ya kwanza, what we have, I want us to try like just a short exercise. We have three letters. We have G, k, sang, and the double G, right? Now, for the first letter, let's just try pronouncing a normal G. I want you guys, okay, wherever you are, those who prefer to turn on their cameras, if you want to learn these sounds, the difference, just look at this. Now, we said it's G, right? If we put our palms in front of our hands like this, if we put our palms in front of our hands, this, and we say G, G, there will be a bit of air getting to the palm of your hand. But now move forward and try to pronounce k, like k, k. The the air reaching your palm is like a bit stronger. It's a bit stronger. Now, I want you guys to try and pronounce k, but without any air actually getting to the palm of your hand. And then you'll have this sound down. This and this are the same sound-wise, but how we shape our mouth determines the difference between them. Like this is more like k. This is k, k, k. Air sharply gets to your palm. But this one is more like k, k. no air will reach your palm. If you say
Hmm.
uh, you want to try that?
Yeah, we're trying it. We're definitely trying that.
Okay, okay. So that's the difference. This is k, and then k. Good. And that's the difference between now, for example, this double G consonant and this one, or this double D consonant and the T, or this double B consonant and the P, and double S and single S, double J and ch. That's the difference. I mean, we say this is K K T T. Topoki. We don't say topoki. Do we say p or p? It doesn't matter. S. So now that's the whole difference. That's the we got that down on the consonant side. Are there any questions? Please ask if there are any questions, because we might not come back to the alphabet in a while. This will be like we'll progress with the free lectures like in proper order. That's why we started from the beginning. So if you have questions, please ask them right now. 질문이 있으면 물어보세요. Let me not say 물어보세요.
I have a problem with the double T.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm finding it hard to pronounce it.
So here we have the T, right? Original T. We have the T in basic form is just D. So we start, okay. If we have okay, some air. If you move on to T, this one, now T, lots of air gets to your palm. But then if you want to pronounce this one, it's like T, 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 tang. Tang. Like for example, if you want to say land in Korean, let's just write some of these words. 잠시만요. 잠시만 기다려주십시오. So if I want to write land in Korean, it's tang. Land in Korean is tang. Ta. 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 Not ta. Not tang. 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 Tang.
Tongue,
You have to kind of control the
tongue,
amount of
tongue.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Ta.
I got it,
Ta.
I guess.
Ta. Okay. And then the other thing with the double consonants,
Tongue.
it's almost as if you're usually pausing before you say the double consonant. Like it's ta, 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 ta. But then for this one, it's just ta. You just say ta. This one, ta, ta. You pull back, move forward. Ta, tang,
Tongue.
tang. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay. So if there are no questions, let's move on to the vowel section. Now, for vowels, it's relatively easy. Okay. Yeah, let me say relatively easy for now. But there are many vowels that look very similar. Now, for this one, we have this is the letter Ah, ah. So if we combine these two, we would get, for example, ka. So combine these two, this seven looking character and this that looks like somebody. So if we combine G, A becomes ka. Okay. Now next. Now I want you guys to look at the pattern. We have a single line, right? And then a stroke. Okay. Is this your right side or is this? Okay, a stroke on the right side. You guys know what your right side is. We have a stroke on the right side, right? But then here we have two strokes on the right side. So this means that this character here, this vowel here, originates from this one. So there are two of them. If there are two of them, this makes this yeah. Okay? Yeah. And then next we have this sound here. Now, all this is a all sound. All. Look at how I'm shaping my mouth. There's all. We do not have this aw in Swahili. It does not exist. For example, if you wanted to write Mombasa, you'd write Mombasa. Oh, Mombasa, not Mombasa. So this is more like aw. So in Korean, I've noticed they write it as E-O. But sometimes for me, I think of it as O-H as well. Aw, aw. Now, and then, so if this is aw, and the pattern is that if there is a stroke, there is an extra stroke on the same side. Then what does this become? What is this? What is this letter? Can anybody tell me?
Yo.
Yo.
Yeah, yo. And then next we have O, normal O. I call it the normal O. Like if you want to say Mombasa, Dodoma, you use this O. Many of your names, okay, the African names of African origin. Because I could see Faith, for example, Faith Tambo. The O in Tambo is just this normal O. Mudoni is this normal O. Any other name that I can see? I can't see names with O. Anyways, O. And then if this is O, therefore this becomes yo. This is O, this is yo. O, yo. Next, we have now many students end up confusing these two, this one and this one, because of the way it's shaped and the way it looks like. Even I used to confuse these things. Anyways, this is O. The opposite, the thing that looks like a capital T is a U. U. The U sound. U. For example, in East Africa, you have the country Uganda, but then in Korean, it's Uganda with U, not Uganda. Therefore, this brings us to this, which is U. Why U? You. You. Yes, Pauline. Kamsamda. You. Okay, now let's do the last two. What is this? What sound does this vowel produce?
Uh,
Yeah,
uh.
the sound. Yes, Kamsamda Pauline. Now, this sound also does not exist in Swahili, but it also doesn't exist in English. You can kind of find this sound in English. I'll give examples. But then the sound, does not exist in English or Swahili. So you find like many of us kind of like struggle with it at the beginning. Eventually, it will be okay. And then the final one, this is simple.
E.
E, Kamsanda Abi. So E. Now that we have the basics of the alphabet right here, we can start combining these into into what we call syllabic blocks. At the minimum, in Korean, you have the Korean alphabet usually has the minimum of a syllabic block is a consonant and a vowel. On this left side, we have consonants, and this side we have vowels. So now we're just gonna combine random consonants, vowels, see, show everybody where we're at. I'm also gonna post this in the group so that those who wanna do this exercise by themselves can also like do it. So for example, if I want to say mora, right? The pronunciation is Mora, right? So for the name Mora, we only have to take Mora. If I want to say Mora, yes, Mora with the extended A. So anyways, here's what we're gonna do. If I want to write Mora's name, I'll just come here to the M section. Combine M with the O, right? To form Mo. M with O, combine M with O to form Mo. And then what do I look for? I look for the R. So R and A, combine R and A form Ra. But then if I want to write the name in full, I would write like Mo or Ra. Now, I would advise Mora simplifications. So I would advise writing your name like this, Mora. You could, to be more accurate in terms of pronunciation, you can add the extra A like this. Now, we can add an extra A like this. Now, can anybody tell me why for Mora's name, why didn't we do this? Like, you're very tempted to just add an extra A, attach it like this. Why didn't we do it like this?
Uh, because you say the O is silent, so we
Mm-hmm.
can be able to add a letter to that because you won't pronounce that O. So it's
It's
much clearer when you write it like that.
Yeah, it's much clearer. It looks neat. But then why is it that we usually add that O? There is a rule. What rule is it? Why do we have to write it O? Like for example, I have a vowel and in between the vowels, I have to add an extra, like I have to add this O without sound. Why is that? And just
Can I
answer.
try?
Yes, Gabby, you can try.
Okay, the way I got it is that to write like those vowels, you need like a consonant, but if
Mm.
there's none, you use the placeholder, which is ng.
It's simple. Okay, in Hungary, right? This is Hangul, the Korean alphabet. What usually happens is that it has what we call a syllabic block. Not many languages have that. For example, in English, if I want to write Abby's name, I would write A, B, B, Y, Abby. If I want to write Ashley's name, I would write A, S, H, L, E, Y. In sequential order. So it would just go like that. Korean has syllabic blocks and it helps us neatly fit syllables into like one nice area, right? If we think about Mora's name, it's actually Mora. There are two syllables. Abby's name has two syllables as well. Okay, if you think about the syllables, because if you were to write Abby's name, you'd write Abby like this. And then again, notice with Abby's name, we have a silent here. We have this circle looking thing. Yet I said this is the we've put the silent and then and then bi, Abby. It's because in Korean you have to write in a consonant vowel, at the bare minimum, you need a consonant and a vowel in a syllabic block. At the bare minimum, you can have more. You can have a consonant, vowel, consonant. You can have a consonant, vowel, consonant, consonant. There are many types of syllabic blocks, but mostly for names, in African names, you don't find this. You usually find consonant, vowel, and consonant, vowel, consonant. Now, because of this bare minimum rule of having a consonant and a vowel, let's say Abby's name. Okay, now if you think about Abby's name, the first letter is a vowel. Realistically, in Korean, since the first letter is a vowel, we have to attach a consonant to the first vowel. A consonant has to come before it. And that's what we call the empty consonant. Some people call it the placeholder. Some people call it the silent consonant. But this all-looking thing has no sound. We write it first. And I can look at even like one more name, like Ntiari. In Ntiari's name, the same thing will kind of happen because of another rule, which I will also explain. But in many cases, you have these names where either there are two vowels following each other, or somebody has a name and it starts with a vowel. You have to put this empty consonant first, because why? In Korean, they say the minimum you have to have in a syllabic block is a consonant and a vowel. You cannot write abi like this. You cannot write B. You cannot write like this. This would be wrong. Abi cannot be written like this. You have to put the silent and then pube and then E. Abi. This. Now for mora, you can write mora. You can write it with the extended A, but I would recommend putting it with two syllables. Okay. Now, in order for us to continue and for me to keep explaining the syllabic blocks, I have to also explain what we call diphthongs. Diphthongs are like okay, in Korean, you have the consonants right here. Like you have the double consonants that start from here. In Korean, you can also combine two vowels to form one sound. Meanwhile, does anybody have any question? Am I confusing y'all? Am I just making things worse?
No, no, you're
No,
good.
I'm good.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Let's continue. So we have these other, what do you call them? Vowels that are formed with a combination of two vowels. I think what you guys all need is the sounds that these vowels make. And then with that, we will have covered actually the whole Korean alphabet. This sound, can anybody tell me what that sound is?
Eh.
The eh sound. Okay. And this one?
That's the eh, and then the other one is the A. I don't-
I think you're saying the same thing, Abby. You're saying this is the eh, this is the eh.
Okay, I'm guessing the first one has like an A for apple first, and then the A. Yeah,
So
yeah, something
So then what's the difference in pronunciation? Is this or a? Okay,
A, A.
a. Okay, so I usually like giving the difference in pronunciation with like names or like real terms. Like for example, you have the name Sam. Unajua hii jina tukiwa yani huku Africa kwa tunasema Sam, S-A-M. No, for example, Sam. No, for the name. How do Americans pronounce this name anyway?
Sam,
Yeah,
Samantha.
Samantha. So that's where that that's this air. But usually at the beginner level, if you don't if you don't distinguish between this and nobody will care. Actually, even in Korean, in modern Korean, hearing the difference between and very difficult. It's hard. Now we have and eh. Now this one has the double stroke of this one. So this becomes, yes, I think Pauline is the one who's writing. Yeah, yeah. Comes under Pauline. Yeah. And then next, yeah. Now, yes. Yeah. Comes under Pauline. Now we're
I
on.
have a question.
Ask away, Ashley.
Now, how are we pronouncing the yeah and the yeah? Is it the same thing as air and air? Like nobody would really mind.
Nobody pays so much attention. I feel like in modern Korean, the difference is very subtle. Now, the difference is in the meaning. Yeah, 예를 들어. Yeah, like for example, 예를 들어. Now, next we have O. Can everybody see this letter? Okay, we have the silent. Yeah. Which one? The first yeah or the second yeah? It's actually the second yeah that means yes. No, no, it doesn't mean yes. The second one is the one that means yes. The first one is more like yes, the second one means yes. It's the second one. The first one has a very complex meaning. I can't even explain. The second one can mean two things. It can mean yes, it can mean example. Like if you want to say for example, yarultero. But we'll cover meanings of all these characters. Tuseme siku ingine. Now what we have here is wa. We have wa. Why does it form wa? And why is it that there's a silent here and we're not saying wa? Because okay, now Notice here we said this can be silent and NG. We'll talk about when it becomes NG, when it's silent. But for now, just think of them all as silent. You know, there are some people, I'm guessing Abby, Ashley, Pauline, who've learned Hangul before, but many have also never learned this. So the O looking thing, consider it silent. Consider it as if it has no sound. It's just there for aesthetics. Now, below that, we have this upside down T looking character. That's what I call it, that beginners can have an easy time. Now, that upside down looking T character was right here. This is the O sound. And then next to it, you have the A sound. So you have O and A, which have combined to form what sound? Yes, Abby, Kamzamda. Wa. O and A, wa, right? That makes sense. So in Korean, this wa, would you guys consider it like a consonant or a vowel? You have wa. Do you consider it a consonant? Do you consider it a vowel?
A vowel, I guess.
A
A
vowel.
vowel. Yeah, because it's formed from vowels. Because many a times I have students who ask me, now, but Korean doesn't have W, so how do I write W? Korea doesn't have the consonant W, how do I write W? Like somebody has a name like Wangare, right? How do we write W? I'm like, okay, but like, you just think about how what's it called? How it sounds like, not what it is in English. And a lot of Korean is doing that. What it sounds like, not what it looks like in English. You even have names like Anthony, right? It has a H in the middle, right? We don't write that in Korean because it's not pronounced. So if you have a name, you have like a letter that is not really pronounced, it has no sound. In Korean, it would be completely ignored. Anyways, this is wa, wa. So like Swahili, wa, ama watu, wa. This is wa. Then you can add tu. Next is we would
Way.
say way, yeah, but way with like how do you reverse 3E? We call it way. In a lot of K dramas, you hear way, way, way. Let's just put way, okay? Just to keep it simple. Way. And then next,
We, maybe.
think come again. Is it we? Now this one confuses a lot of students because you have an E there. It should be we. Why? Like, why is Maingi-san singing telling me it's not we? Why is he making our lives difficult? Okay, this is really not we. I'm not even trying to trick you. It's not we. Think about it. You have O and E. What is Pauline? Ui? No, it's not ui. Ui is the last one. Think about it. How do these two sounds combine? O and E. Kuna O na E. This is not the final sound. O na E. Oh, okay, let me say it slowly. Listen to this. O E. Oi, 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 oi. How does it sound like? W? Okay, let's see. Oi. So, we. It's we. But now, this first character for we means why. Kwa nini? Kwa Kiswahili. This second character for we means foreign. Like kitu ya kigeni, kitu ya tuelezaje. Like a foreign country in Korean is where go. Korea. Nani anajua jina ya Korea kwa Kikorea? Who knows Korea's name in Korean?
Hangul.
Hanguk, right? Han being the part for the Korean people, and then Guk. Now, for countries, you just combine whatever there is with Guk. So, where Guk is a foreign country, something from outside. Where? Wego, a foreigner, Wegogin. You've been reading it wrong this whole time. Yeah. This is why we have this free lesson, the free class. So this is where. This is where. And okay, next, this one's easy. What is this? You can type in the comment section as well. War. Uh-huh. War. Type at war. Okay. Next, anyone? You have U, U, and E. What does that combine to form? This is simple. U and E. U and E combines to form anyone. Where? Yeah. Pauline, yeah. Where? I know the words are many, but each character has its own what's it called? Meaning. But then for most, let's say foreign non-Korean words with the we sound, you use this one to write. For example, if you want to write wedding, you want to transliterate the word wedding from English to Korean characters. You start with we and then you write ding, we, ding. Now, okay. Next, guesses are welcome. Anyone? This is U and E. What do they form?
We.
Yeah, we. I see Pauline, SP, Abby wrote we. Yes, Teresa, we. And then the final one?
We, because I heard you say it's the last one.
Yeah, ui. The last one is ui. But this also changes sound depending on the word. But if you ever ask to say ui. And with that, we have finished the Korean alphabet.
Can I ask a question?
Ask away.
Can we try forming words with this diphthong so that we can know the difference in like
Mm.
pronunciation and writing wise, because it's very confusing for me.
It's very confusing for y'all. Okay, so what I usually do is we write students' names. So for example, if I want to write Ashley, what's your second name, Ashley?
Wairimu.
Now, if I wanted to write your name in Korean, this is how it looks like, right? But think of the name in an American pronunciation, not like I know most of us use British English, but think of it as more American pronunciation. You have Ashley, and then we have Wairimu. Okay. Can you tell me why I didn't start the name with the letter A? I started with the eh. Do you remember when we were talking about the sound changes and like how like Koreans transliterate mostly from like an American pronunciation? Here's how your name would be written. We start with the silent because your name has a vowel in front, and then eh to make that because Americans they don't say Ashley. They say Ashley, Ashley, ah. That ah sound is there. So Ashley. Now, the reason why we have S and then we have U and then the double L. Now, this is a good example for this is why I think we need next time we need to do what we call I think we need to do a pronunciation class. And I'm saying most of you shouldn't miss it just next Friday. Because, like, for example, this letter, we said it's an L and an R at the same time. Si mnakumbuka? Inaweza kuwa L, inaweza kuwa R. But in what instances does it become L or R? Yes. So it can become L, it can become R. Now, but then when there are two of them following each other, in this case, like in Ashley's name, si tumeweka hii kitu inakaa number two. It looks like a number two. Okay, I'm speaking in Swahili. I think everybody speaks Swahili. Inakaa number two. Inakaa hivyo. This L looking thing. If you put two of them, that's when you have that L sound. But let's say we decided to do this with Ash's name. If we did this, let me show you. If we did this, we'd be calling her Ashri with the R sound. If it's single by itself, R sound. If there are two of them, a L sound. Now, let's also go to her second name, which is why I asked for her second name because many of our Bantu names or many of our names in, let's say, East Africa, they have these, in Korean, they would be written with dip. Now you have Wa, I, Ri, Mu, Wairimu. So her name starts with Wa. Wa, that diphthong is right here. Just an example. It starts with Wa. Now, Wa is a vowel in Korean. So it starts with the silent and then O A. Wa irimu. Let's say you have a not like a nickname. I don't want to use names that have patterns because I'll explain that in another lesson. Let's try somebody else. Pauline, do you mind me using your name for an example? Anybody want
No,
me
that's okay.
Okay. So we have Pauline Muthoni. Now Pauline's name is not gonna appear the same as Ashley's, but it still gives us a bit of insight on what we need to do. Now, for Pauline, notice her name has that L, Pauline, right? So again, what happens if you want to produce that L sound, there are two of them. L. So we have the P from here, from the top here. Iko wapi? P. And then the O from the vowel list on top here. O. And then L is here. But you have to put two of them. And then here. It looks like this. And then N there. So you end up with Pauline, Wu, Tony. But then in Korean, you don't have the th sound. It doesn't exist. So you can either write Mutoni or Musoni. You can choose between the two. Now, this name does not have what we call a diphthong, but still, it is still a good example for this exercise. It has the M-U goes to the bottom, T-O-N-I. Next time, I think we're gonna do pronunciation in syllabic blocks. Anybody's name that has like a W sound, a W sound within it. I need to show examples of that. That's what we need. Anybody? Let me see in the comment section. Wamuyu. Wamuyu, same case. So if we want to say, for example, here, you have the name, let's say Abby, and then you have Wa Mu Yu. This is a pretty good example. And then somebody else has Wekesa. Good. I like that. So now Wekesa. Sorry, I'm typing in a different stream because my computer doesn't have the Korean keyboard. So I need to type that and bring them here. Now we have Abby. I'm assuming Wamuyu is your second name. Now, Abby, we covered a silent because, Abby's name starts with the vowel A, B, E. And then Wa. With Wa, it starts with the silent because Wa in Korean is a vowel. So O, A, you. Now, Wekesa's name, what are we have Wekesa. We have Wekesa for what do you call it? For the syllables. We covered here. I said, when we were doing the diphthongs, I said that most of you, if you want to transliterate a non-Korean word into Korean, if it's you use this So, ndoi, k ndoi, k. So you would write is right here on the top. Wekesa. So it becomes Wekesa. Let's go back and look at the chat. Whitney. Now, Whitney, that's a tricky name. There are a few ways I think you can do it. To write Whitney in Korean, you use a H. Not even I think you guys, even if you go to the Wikipedia page for Whitney Houston in Korean, do you guys know Whitney Houston, by the way? She was a singer. She was very famous. She was a very famous black singer. Oh, yeah, yeah, we do. Okay. I'm just assuming sometimes, I say things, people tell me I'm old. Never mind. But now we have Whitney. Now, Whitney is in, it's written with a H actually, not with a W in Korean. But then you have the U and I, right? So you have Whitney. You have U and I, you have the we, but you also add H onto it to produce the name Whitney. So this is how Whitney is written. Rakesa, let me write Rakesa here. Is there anybody else who has like a W in their name so that we can? Is that how you pronounce it, Tiffany? Weigi? Weiger?
Whale.
Way?
Whale. The G is silent.
Whale.
Yeah, whale.
Whale. What
Like
country? What country is the name from?
I don't know. I've never researched it.
You never researched it. Okay, so if you want to write whale, you would write, look at this, whale. Because the G is silent, this is how you'd write it. You start with the we, and then silent l. I'll explain more on this later. We'll do pronunciation in a more emphasized form later. So, ashlishi 걱정하지 마십시오. Do not worry. Taifanya vizuri. baadaye.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Yoruba. Now, the other thing we needed to cover was now today we've covered this. We've covered a few things. We've covered the Korean alphabet, of course, how the words are pronounced, of course, Korean diphthongs, but I know we haven't really done pronunciation, so we could do that next time along with a bit of syllable structure because very many people do actually struggle with how to put Korean characters and how they fit in perfectly everywhere. So we'll do that next time.